What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. We are going to take a look at an interview between Sky News host Beth Rigby and Prime Minister Boris Johnson. They was discussing the G7 meetings and Brexit. Now, Beth sounds like someone who is suffering from an acute case of Brexit and Boris derangement syndrome, constantly interrupting the Prime Minister and parroting Operation Yellowhammer Project Fear nonsense about food and medicine shortages. You know, the same scare stories the mainstream media have milked for the last week or so. Let's check it out.
Mr Johnson, what viewers back home want to know, though, is where we are on Brexit. 68 days to go. They're not sure where we're heading. Is no deal still 1,000,000 to 1 chance?
Look, no deal or deal depends entirely on our friends here, some of them here, our partners across the EU. And I think in the last few days, we've actually had quite a lot of success in landing some messages about what the UK
I get that.
Can do and can't do. Let's be clear. I think at the moment there's a reasonable chance that we'll get a deal, but in order to get that deal, to repeat my message, we've got to prepare to come out with
reasonable chance is not 1,000,000 to 1, though. Is it becoming more likely or less likely after your Merkel-Macron meetings?
I think that, I'm an optimist. I think the chances of a deal are improving, but there's got to be a great deal of realism on the part of our friends that the withdrawal agreement is dead.
Yes.
The text that Parliament rejected 3 times cannot now be made to go through. And I know people think, what's this all about? Fundamentally, the problem with that withdrawal agreement is that it would keep the UK locked in the EU's
sure, I get
trading.
That, and you've discussed that with him,
I think the problem is, viewers at home don't necessarily understand this. It would keep us locked in the EU's trading arrangements and in the lunar pull of EU law without being able to have a say on that. That's why it's totally unacceptable.
So Beth wastes no time interrupting the Prime Minister when he's speaking. Probably no more than 30 seconds into that clip, and she can't even hold herself back. Her question about no deal being 1,000,000 to 1 chance is rehashing old words. That was the position when Boris Johnson took over from the Ramonin traitor Maybot, who was never going to leave the EU. He likely only made that statement to keep the Ramonas off his back, because back then they would have had enough time to block a no-deal Brexit, which they might not have time to do now, and obviously a deal relies on the EU giving us a much better deal than they tried to before. Boris reiterates to her that the withdrawal agreement is dead. There is more life in the Maybot government right now than there is in the EU withdrawal agreement. I think Boris Johnson knows that the only acceptable way to leave the EU is on WTO terms. When Boris points out some of the issues included in the backstop that would keep us under EU law with no veto power, the spunk trumpet host once again tries to interrupt him, claiming she already knows all this, but Boris is talking to the viewers, not her, so he finished what he had to say. I sense she really does not like Boris Johnson or Brexit, so let's carry on.
But did you tell President Macron and Angela Merkel that you were planning to withhold nearly 30 billion or 30 billion of the withdrawal divorce bill of £39 billion? Did you tell them that you were going to withhold that money when you met them this week, or is that new news?
I think what the entire community, what the entire European Union understands, is that if we come out without a deal, then the 39 billion
but did you
is
tell
not,
them that?
is not pledged.
Did you make that clear?
And, well, that's been made clear.
Did you make that clear in the
times.
meetings? Because it could affect whether they want to deal with you.
I think they understand that if there isn't a deal, then the 39 billion is no longer legally pledged. And as I've said many times, we will therefore, on the 1st of November, have very substantial sums available from that 39 billion to spend on supporting our farmers, our SMEs, and indeed for investment in all sorts of areas that are important to our people.
From 1 chance of a no deal to now it being more likely. And for viewers at home, what they actually want to know is, can you promise them that there will not be medicine shortages, that there will not be food shortages in the days after October the 31st if there's no deal? Can you make that promise now?
What I can tell people, and as I said a few weeks ago on the steps of Downing Street, I think that we can get through this. I think this is a great country, the UK, and we can easily cope with a no-deal scenario. And I know that that's what people want.
But also people want to know, will they have food shortages in their shops?
Frankly, I think it's highly unlikely that there will be food shortages. That's not what they said in terms of the Operation Yellowhammer papers. I understand that paper was based on assumptions that were made before we'd really started accelerating our preparations.
OK, so Beth is now asking about Boris Johnson withholding the $39 billion if we leave on no deal, which is once again just old news. It was reported weeks ago if we leave with no deal, then the EU does not get our money. I'm sure Macron and Merkel have known this since day dot. The $39 billion is a condition within the EU withdrawal agreement. If we don't sign it, then the $39 billion is not due, so I'm confused as to why that seems like such a shock to this EU spunk trumpet. Even after he tells her everyone knows the money was a condition of the deal, she still bangs on about him telling Macron he won't get the money. You dumb bitch. Macron knew this from the moment the deal was agreed by the EU, before Maybot failed to get it through Parliament. As Boris said, that money will be used by the UK to deal with any situation that occurs after a no-deal Brexit. Beth can't handle that though. She goes on the usual mainstream media route, bringing up the same old scare stories about medicine and food. This bitch has clearly been living deep inside that Project Yellowhammer report that is over a year old and was created by the biased civil service. It has about as much credibility as the BBC. I don't know why Boris Johnson didn't just say no, there won't be any of these shortages. It's all nonsense. We are leaving the EU, not the planet. Countries will still want to trade with us, and let's not forget how much food retailers throw away every single day. We already don't use what we have in the stores now, so I'm sure in 10 years we won't be talking about the UK's 2019 famine. It's just ridiculous. Let's move on.
So you can now say that we will not have food shortages in the stores if you don't get a deal.
What I also said to people is that there may be bumps on the road, but that we will get through them. And it's absolutely vital that we make the preparations now.
And also communicate it to people. You're hiding all the assessments. You're not being straight with people. Bumps on the road.
No, we've been very, very frank with people about what they need, and there is a massive programme of engagement with businesses large and small, with the farming community.
Consumers? Are you going to advise them on medicines and food?
Well, we are making every possible preparation, and I think that is what the public would want us to do. I also think that what the public want us to do,
might want you to be straight about the realities of what a no-deal Brexit could mean for their lives.
Is to get ready for a no-deal Brexit for two reasons. The first is that is the best way to ensure that we get the deal that I think we can get. But the other reason, obviously, is so that if and when we are forced by the obduracy of our European friends to come out on October the 31st without a deal, that things are as smooth as they can possibly be. So I'm full of confidence about it. I do think that, there's going to be a lot of work still to be done before October the 31st, but a huge amount is being done, as you know. We are reaching out to consumer groups, to businesses across the country the whole time. And when we come out, we will then have substantial opportunities that we haven't had before. Opportunities to do things differently in our economy. Opportunities to cut taxes on investment. Opportunities to regulate in a different way. Opportunities to do free trade deals around the world.
But you don't want to be Mr. No-Deal, really, do you?
That is something I think we can all look forward to. The people who are going to be responsible for no deal are not in the UK. We don't want no deal.
It will be you as well as the EU. It's up to you as well.
But it's simply not possible for us to have an agreement that contains the backstop in the way that I've described, keeps us locked in the EU arrangements in the way that I described. That point, I think, has now landed with our friends, and what we're hoping is that they'll see a way forward.
Well, Beth is now complaining that secret government documents regarding Brexit preparations are not given to the media because every other government has done that before, in Beth's mind, I guess. This woman is an idiot. Did Maybot release Yellowhammer when it was a relevant document? Did Blair release relevant documents about the Iraq war bullshit? Of course they fucking didn't. So why would Boris Johnson do it because commie cumbuckets like Beth decide she wants to see them? She is hung up on these food and medicine shortages because right now there is nothing else they can really scare the masses with. It's really annoying though that Boris does not call out this complete bullshit. Instead, he tells her the government are taking steps that the public would want them to do, either to get a good deal or be prepared when we leave on a no-deal Brexit. I think most people want a no-deal Brexit right now, Boris. MPs want a deal, no one else. Boris finishes up pointing out the benefits Brexit will bring to the UK. Boris did completely ignore her question about not wanting to be Mr. No Deal. I think Boris knows he's already Mr. No Deal, but he won't say that because he's trying to keep some of his MPs on his side who might be sitting on the fence right now. Boris knows the deal on the table right now is done, so it's up to the EU to come out and bring some new terms to the table, which they won't. So he will blame them for a no-deal Brexit, although I expect it's what him and his inner circle want to do, but he can't be overt about it yet. If he had a bigger majority government, he would be far more blatant with his no-deal talk. But I also think in that situation, the EU would be crawling over for a deal under the terms we set. It's the Ramonas in Parliament that have given the EU the upper hand in negotiations. Boris Johnson is trying to take that back, even with the Ramonas still trying to undermine the UK at every turn. This is why he called them collaborators. If he had a bigger majority, the traitor MPs would be pissing in the wind. Well, this woman has to be one of the most biased, snarling, spitting imbeciles I've ever come across in my life. Her contempt for the Prime Minister is unrivaled. I think she should join the fucking BBC. Well, I'm going to end the video there, guys. I just want to thank my PayPal, Patreon and Subscribestar members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Let me know as always what you think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.